Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for October 14, 2022, the Ascot Rant edition. And we begin with that story from the Financial Times. The FT, as a Deloitte vice chair, is leaving the Big Four firm after a drunken tirade at June's Royal Ascot. The gentleman, Stephen Cahill, after a liquid day, went off on a 30-minute rant where he, quote, offended every collective group of minorities, end quote, to a group of Deloitte employees celebrating themselves at Ascot. Many at Deloitte were put off by the fact that he was allowed to retire from the firm. And one employee said, badging it as retirement is not appropriate. Big companies have so much education on training and what is appropriate in taking a zero tolerance approach. This does not feel like zero tolerance. So pretty poor effort by Deloitte, according to some. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, Risk and Compliance Journal, Mingy Sun reporting that the crypto advocacy group Coin Center has sued the U.S. Treasury Department over Tornado's or Treasury sanction against the cryptocurrency mixer Tornado Cash. The group filed suit asking it to remove Tornado Cash from the sanctions list. The suit argues that OFAC doesn't have the statutory authority to impose sanctions on Tornado Cash, a platform based on open source self-running software protocols, and that the action infringes on Americans' right to privacy and rights under the First Amendment of the Constitution. Good luck with the corrupt Roberts Court with that argument. Next up, and really no surprise, Venezuela has objected to the court's proposed date to sell Citgo's parent shares, the company PDVSA. No surprise, but really no argument that PDVSA owes the money, and there have been multiple international arbitrations and other adjudications. PDVSA has stiffed numerous companies for billions of dollars, and now somehow Venezuela thinks that they're going to be able to stop this. So perhaps the new Venezuelan relationship with the United States will come into play, although perhaps not. And finally, for those of you who don't believe the U.S. has a corruption problem, we point you to the ongoing criminal trial in Santa Clara County, California, where criminal indictments listed pay-to-play to obtain gun permits. This embroiled the Apple chief security officer around donations and other pay-to-play strategies. So now it turns out it may have all been true. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.